Hey guys, today we're reacting to something scary, so let's get into it. This is one of the old ones. I never really seen the newer ones, but I'll try to look at the newer ones when. I did see it, but I wanted to watch this with you guys, so let's get into it.
Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary?
Yeah, sure.
One night when I was 16, I spent the night at a friend's house. Neither of us had tried Bloody Mary before, and we decided that tonight was the night that we would. If you've somehow managed to miss that part of your childhood, Bloody Mary is the urban legend that claims if
I
you stand
actually
in front of a
tried
mirror
it
in
a
the
couple
dark,
times,
spin
but
around
it
and
doesn't
chant
really
Bloody
work.
Mary 3 times, she will appear in the mirror and claw your face.
I'm not saying it's
So,
not real.
my friend and I went into the bathroom, turned off the lights,
But you
lit some
could just-
candles, and spun
I'll
around,
listen
chanting,
anyway.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. We opened our eyes.
Oh,
and
no
there,
wonder,
in the
'cause you
mirror,
need candles
was a
for
head
that.
so covered in blood that
Wow.
it was just completely red. We screamed and ran out of the bathroom and never went back in the rest of the night. When it was time for bed, my friend's father came in to tell us goodnight. Hey girls, he said, are any of you on your period by any chance? No. Why do you ask? Oh, okay, well, there's blood on the bathroom floor, so I'd like you to clean it up when you get a chance, please. The Philippines is full of
Wow.
incredible mythology and fantastic creatures.
That's crazy.
My grandpa
Blood on
has
the
always been a
bathroom
believer
floor
of these
after playing
myths.
Bloody
That's
Mary.
because he's experienced them. This is what he told me. I lived in a rural town in the Visayan Islands of the Philippines. I was in my mid-20s and working late one night. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning when I began to walk my way to the bus station, my way lit only by the full moon. I've walked this path many times. I passed by this house that had a dog in the yard that would always bark at me when I passed. But tonight, it
Wow.
just stared and just watched as I walked by. And that's when I heard it. A very strange sound in the distance. I had heard of the tikwi, sometimes known as a wak-wak or aswang. It separates from the lower half of its body to fly around at night, searching for any living soul, to rip out their hearts with their taloned feet and feast. And when you hear its call, you know it's hungry. So I continued walking towards the bus station, and I
I'd
could
be
still
booking
faintly
it
hear
if
the
I
sound.
hear that.
And I saw that there was a
Nah, I
security
ain't
booth
taking
with a
no
guard
chance. I'd be
inside.
booking
I
it
didn't
like
want to wait at the
Special
station alone,
Olympics.
so I slipped inside the booth and waited with the guard. I still wasn't sure if I was imagining the sound, but from the look on the guard's face, I'm pretty sure he heard it too. So we both just sat there, motionless. Finally, the bus arrived and I ran out of the booth and onto the bus and rode all the way home, the sounds of the tikwi growing fainter and fainter. The next day, I told my coworkers what had happened, and that's when one of them told me, tikwis are master tricksters. The further away they
Bro,
sound,
I should have
the
just turned my
closer they are.
notifications off, but
This is
it's
a
no
story
big
that was
deal.
passed around a lot when I was younger, and it still gives me chills to this day. Let me tell you about the man who was a little too curious. I was driving home from a business trip and decided to stay the night in a motel that I found on the roadside. After checking in, I walked down the hall to my room, but on my way I noticed a door that was all boarded up and covered in police tape. As soon as I passed it, I could have sworn I heard someone singing from inside the room. There was one spot of the door that was still uncovered, a giant keyhole. big enough to
Nah,
see
I ain't
through to the
looking at no
inside.
door
So
that's
I knelt
boarded up
down
has
and peeked
a
inside the
keyhole
hole.
and
All I saw was
all
this
that. No.
pale little girl singing to
Nah,
herself.
the second I
It
see
was so
that, I'm gonna
strange.
be like,
Why was she there by
peace.
herself? Anyways, I stood up and went to my room and went to sleep. The next morning, on my way to check out, I passed the door again. I still couldn't believe what I saw the night before, so I decided to take another peek. So I knelt down and took another look inside. But this time, all I could see was red. Nothing but red. Did she notice me looking last night and cover the hole up with something? It was all very strange. I went to the concierge to check out, and I decided to ask her, "So, what's up with that room? The one that's all boarded up?" "Well," she said, A while ago, a family checked in, a mother, a father, and their young girl. But that poor girl never checked out.
Wow.
Her parents murdered her in that room. Oh, I'll never forget them. They had incredibly pale skin and deep blood red eyes.
Oh! Nah.
So this is a story that my aunt told me happened to her when she was in her mid-20s. She was living in the Philippines at the time, and she had a niece who was a freshman in high school. So one day, the high school called her and said,
right there.
"You need to get over here right now. Your niece is acting really weird." And my aunt had no idea what they were talking about. And so when she got to the school, her niece was sitting on a chair and she looked really out of it. And if anyone tried to touch her, she would violently hit their hand away and yell at them in a cold, deep voice that clearly wasn't hers. So they had no idea what to do, so they called the sheriff of the town to see if he had any ideas. And so the sheriff got there, and it was pretty clear to him that she was probably possessed by something. And so he asked her, "What are you doing to this girl? Why are you here?"
"She hurt my children. She stepped on my house."
"Wait, how is that even possible? Where is your house?"
"Outside of the school."
So there's this Filipino superstition that you shouldn't step on ant hills or termite hills, basically any mound of dirt in the ground, because there's a creature that lives in them called the duende. Duendes are sort of similar to elves or goblins, and they're invisible to most people, but they do show themselves to children or some adults that they choose. They mostly just leave you alone, but if you mess with them, they can bring you a lot of bad luck and misfortune, and in the worst case, death. And right outside the school is filled with anthills. So unfortunately, my aunt's niece did not know about this rule. So the sheriff started pleading with this spirit inside the girl. "She's just a kid. I'm sure it was just an accident. What can we do so that you will forgive her and leave her alone?"
"Get bananas, oranges, and salt and bring it to my house."
So they went to the store and they got a bunch of fruit and salt, and then they placed it all around the anthills that were outside the school. And then when they went back inside the school, my aunt's niece was totally normal. Like, she didn't even know what had happened. And she didn't remember speaking in any weird voice. She just thought that she fell asleep. My aunt is a super sane person. I have no reason to believe that she would ever lie to me about this. Something that makes this story a little weirder for me is that this is not the first story about a duende that family members have told me. So my mom's side of the family used to live in Hawaii when she was younger. When my uncle was 3 years old, one day he sort of just went missing for a few hours, and so everyone was looking for him. A few hours later, he just showed up at the front door and they're like, "Where did you go?" And he said, "Oh, I was playing with the little people." So my family is pretty convinced that the little people that he was playing with were duendes.
Alright, so that's gonna do it for today's video, and see you guys on the next one. Peace!